Welcome to the course module of communication engineering. So the course code for this subject is KEC 401, and this subject we are going to learn in your BTech fourth semester in our institute, which is BIET Jhansi, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. So, first of all, I would like to mention here that this subject is very important as far as this communication, electronics and communication engineering is concerned. Because the subject, because the department itself having electronics and communication. So this is the basic subject that you need to study. Moreover, this subject have different names like somewhere it may be written as principle of communication, somewhere it may be like communication system. And here in this course, the subject name is communication engineering. Okay. So the contents will be same, okay, whether it is principle of communication or communication system one, okay. The more or less syllabus or content will be same. So this subject is very important because this subject is generally means as far as your competitive exams are concerned, okay, this particular subject will have more weightage. Okay, like in India, we are having graduate aptitude test in engineering, which is GATE exam for post graduation and for other public sector undertakings. Okay, in PSUs. So this is very important subject. So and it is very interesting also. So basically, if you see the content, the course content of this subject, this is the course content which is given in our syllabus, okay, for this subject. So in this, we are having 5 units, and here you can see different topics that we have. Okay. So before that, starting this topics, okay, we need to have a certain background knowledge about the communication, and then only we can start these topics. Okay, so I will be starting with the unit one, and obviously I will be first creating a certain backgrounds that will be needed for this subject to understand the underlying topics very well. So here you can find certain books. These are the very important books. You can follow them, okay, for your references, right? So here you can see we are having Simon Hackins' book, The Communication System by Simon Hackins, okay. So I will be following most of the time Simon Hackins and BP Lati. Okay, here BP Lati book is not mentioned, but I'll be using a communication system by Simon Hackins and one more book. I think the book name is, I think, Modern Digital Communication or Modern Analog and Digital Communication by BP Lati. So that two books I will be preferring more, but still you will find that these books are also very important, like Robin Schilling's, okay, Prokeys, okay. These are the books that you can prefer to go through the books, and you can find these topics, okay, in detail. So just if you compare the course content, okay, with your GATE syllabus, you will find that more or less most of the topics are already covered in this course content, okay, in this course content. Only few topics are different. So if we teach them, obviously, it will be also teaching like a GATE syllabus, fine. So I hope I will be trying to cover up this all content, okay, and I will be trying to add some other content which are available in the GATE, okay. So I'll be starting this subject today. So you can see, first of all, we need to understand that what is this communication? Okay, first we need to understand what we mean to say communication. So as this word communication reflects that it is nothing but the sharing of information or idea, okay, between two or more persons, okay. So if we have two person and one person wants to convey certain information to the other, okay, that transfer of information from one person to another person is called a communication, okay. So here I have written like communication is nothing but the sharing of information. okay, sharing of information. Now you must be thinking that sharing of information, so there may be many ways by which we can share the information. For example, if we have two persons, we are sitting in a room and then we are discussing something, okay, so that time we can have a face-to-face talk, okay, and one person can speak something, okay, and the second person will be the receiver, okay, he will be listening to him, and then after listening to whatever the speaker is saying, he will be able to decode it, and then he will be getting the information, okay. So that time what happens is the speaker is speaking something, okay. So what they do generally is, like if two humans are talking, then obviously the human will be generating a certain range of frequencies, okay. We will be generating a sound, which is our voice signal, okay. So that voice signal will be generated, and that voice signal will be actually generating a mechanical wave, okay. And that mechanical wave will be traveling through the medium that is nothing but our air, okay. So it will be traveling through the air, okay. So when we are sitting in a classroom, or whether it is sitting in any of the room, okay, sitting in a park, okay, wherever you are sitting, when one person is speaking, then this mechanical wave will travel through the air, and then that air will reach to the ears of the listener, okay, and that is going to vibrate the you can say the eardrum which is available in our ears, and that will have the sensation of the sound, and based on that sensation it will be sending certain signals to brain, and then the brain will start interpreting it, okay, and that way it will be interpretation will be made, and the information will be shared from one person to another. So this is what the communication is, in which we are sharing the information. In general terms, we can say we are sharing the information. So one person is speaking, another one is the listener, and that way this communication take place. Now here you can see that the speaker, okay, I can say that in terms of communication, if we use a certain terminology, the speaker, if you say, then the speaker is, I can also say that it is either source of information or it may be a transmitter at this moment. Okay, I will come to this points, okay, slowly. But here you can see, when a person is sitting in a room or in a park or in a classroom, the way we are communicating is not an electronic communication, that you remember, okay. There is no medium involved in which we are using the electronics or any electronic gadgets or any such devices, okay, that can be operated electronically, okay. So we do not need, when the person is sitting near to me, okay, there is no need of using any electronic gadgets, okay. I can directly speak. If the person is sitting like 2 meters, 3 meters, or 5 meters distances, 10 meters distances, we can easily talk, okay. And that time we do not need any electronic gadgets. This is very important to understand, okay. But here in this subject, we need to study about the electronic communication, okay. So obviously, what is meant by electronic communication? It is the sharing of information by using an electronic gadgets, okay, and electronic means, okay, and electronic means, okay. So it will be not your mechanical wave that will be traveling through the air, but it will be a certain electromagnetic waves, or you can say it is voltage or current waveforms that will be traveling through a certain media, a certain medium, okay. And then it will be means transferred from one place to another place, okay. So this is what you have to understand. It will be transferred from one place to another place, okay. And that communication that we have to study, okay, electronic communication, fine. So here you can see that the sharing of information electronically, okay, that involves transmission of information from one point to another point through a succession of process such as generation of the message signal, encoding of the message signal, transmission of the encoded signal through a suitable channel, and decoding of the received signals, and reproduction of the original signal with acceptable quality. This is what our electronic communication means. Okay, so you can see in this diagram, okay, you can see this. So what we mean to say a communication is, first of all, first we need to understand why we want communication, why we want to communicate. Obviously, there must be a certain need of having this communication. The need is to transfer a message signal. Okay, some information we want to transfer. So here you can see that this block diagram says we are having a certain input message. Okay, we are having a certain input message. Then this input message is going to means going through an input transducer, and this input transducer will convert the input message into a suitable form. Okay, into a suitable form, because we are talking about electronic communication. So first of all, let me give you a very simple example. Okay, very simple example that most of the people nowadays are familiar, like we are having a mobile phone. Okay, so we are having a mobile phone. So you know that what is the source when we are trying to transmit a voice information. Okay, for example, if you are connecting to a certain people, okay, certain your friends, you want to talk with them, then the input message is nothing but your voice. Okay, your input message will be your voice. And we know that it is a sound wave, and generally it is categorized as a mechanical wave. Okay, it is not an electrical signal. So generally what we do is we have to convert this physical quantity, okay, this mechanical wave, okay, that we are generating into a suitable electrical form. Okay, we need to convert it into an equivalent electrical pulses. Okay, and that conversion is actually done by the input transducer. Okay, this is the function of the input transducer, that it will be converting this message signal. Here in this example, I'm talking about the voice signal. Okay, so this voice signal, which is a mechanical wave, that should be converted into the equivalent electrical wave by using this input transducer. So once this input signal, this transducer will convert it into a suitable form. Now this signal will be fed to a transmitter. Okay, it will be fed to a transmitter whose function is to transmit this wave. Okay, through a certain channel. Okay, you just remember that I'm using these words, okay, this context like channel. Okay, I'm saying channel, I'm saying that it is input message. Okay, so that you remember that what we mean to say that message, what we mean to say that channel. Okay, so you see, when I'm talking about here, it is a transmitter. Okay, I will be talking more in detail about the transmitter, because here we have to perform a certain task, okay, onto this input signal, this this electrical signal that we have we have got from the input message signal. Okay, after the conversion through the input transducers, so this signal has to be processed further. Okay, there must be a certain signal processing task we have to perform in the transmitter section, and then antenna, or it may be a certain other devices. Okay, depending on what kind of channel we are going to use. Okay, the transmitter will be performing a certain signal processing, and then this signal will be converted again in a suitable form so that it can be transmitted efficiently. Okay, it can be transmitted, it can be radiated, you can say, efficiently through the channel. Okay, so as I said, that when we are having in the classroom communication, when the lecturer is lecturing something, he is speaking something, okay, the students are sitting in front of him, and in that cases what happens is the speaker is itself a message. Okay, itself he is also acting as a transmitter. Okay, he is generating the message signal, and he is also acting as a transmitter. Okay, so that time he is transmitting this mechanical wave, and that time, because it is not your electronic communication, this mechanical wave will be traveling through the air. Okay, So the medium through which our signal is transmitting, okay, the medium through which our signal is transmitting, that medium is known as channel, that you remember, okay. So in that case, when we are talking about the classroom communication, in that case, the channel is nothing but our air, okay. It is traveling through the air or atmosphere, you can say. So that will be the channel, fine. And then it will be reaching to the students' ears, and then the ears will be responding to it. Okay. So that will the communication take place. Now you can think one more thing, like in the class, there may be like fans, okay, maybe ACs, okay. So generally what happens, they are the electrical equipments, okay. If it is turned on, then obviously it will be producing a certain noises, okay. When the fan runs, okay, then there will be a noise that will be generated by the fan. So when a lecturer is speaking something in the classroom, not only the sounds that is generated by the speaker, there will be a certain other unwanted sounds that also be present in the same classroom, okay, due to the fan. If I'm saying that fan is on, or there is a, means if there is a nearby any roads, okay, if their classroom is placed or located in such a way that there is a there a road is nearby, and any car or any other automobiles are passing through, then obviously their sounds also comes, okay. So whenever there are some unwanted signals, okay, also coming with the wanted signal, then what is the wanted signal over here? The wanted signal is nothing but the speaker's voice. The lecturer who are lecturing in the classroom, his sound is your wanted signal. But the noise which is generated, or the sounds which is generated through the fan, or the sound which is coming due to the automobiles, okay, or cars which is passing through in the nearby roads, okay, that sounds are unwanted sounds, and generally that sounds or any unwanted sounds are called as the noises, okay. So there may be a certain noise that may be got added into the channel, okay. So that channel will have both wanted signals and unwanted signals, and both the signals will be get added into the channel, or it is, here I'm just saying that it is added, but generally it will depend on to the channel and the type of noise when we are talking about electronic communication. Just for the ease of understanding, I am saying that there will be a presence of some other kind of noises also, okay, unwanted signals, okay, that will be present with the wanted signals, okay, and that will be available into the channel, and this both the wanted and unwanted signals will travel through the channel. At the receiver sections, like the students are receiving the signal, okay, it will be completely depending on the strength of the signals, okay. If noise is having very highest strength than the wanted signal, then whatever the speaker is saying, that message will be lost, okay, because the strength of the noise is very high. For example, if somebody is playing a music, okay, very loud music, any loudspeaker is uh, working out there, then there will be a it's very difficult, you won't be able to listen the speaker properly, because unwanted signal is having very high power or very high strength. So basically what happens is it depends on the strength of the noise, okay, and the strength of the desired signal, okay, or desired sound, okay. We have to filter out the noise component, and we have to extract the original message signal, okay, or the wanted message signal we have to extract. So that part is actually done at the receiver, and then that the receiver section will try to get back the original signal, and then there will be output transducers, and that even we know that in our mobile the speaker speaks something, and then that will be converted into an electronic form. It will be sent through a wireless channel, okay, wireless medium. And then it will be received at the other end, and then again there will be a speaker. That speaker will reproduce the human voice, okay, some sort of human voice it will try to reproduce. So that way we are able to communicate, okay, the communication in which we are having the transmitter section. This all together can be said as the transmitter section. Here we are having the receiver section, and here we have the channel. Okay, so you have to understand very well here that we are having a suitable, means we are having three sections. Okay, so one is the transmitter, or basically the transmitter, or you can say that the information source. Okay, in this side we are having the information source, and that information source will be generating the information, okay, message signal, information bearing signal or message signal. And then we are having a channel. Then we are having here the output transducers or the receiver section, in which we have to receive the signal. And then we are having the distortion and noises, okay, that will be added to the channel side, or it may be added to the receiver side also, okay, that we have to look at, okay, how it will be added to the receiver side and how it is going to affect the original message signal. That effect we have to look at. So this is the things that we have to understand. We have to send a message signal, okay. So when we are talking about the electronic communication, okay, and then we have to think of what kind of information or what kind of message signal that we are likely to send, okay, that we want to send, okay. Then we have to look at what are the different channels or the media or medium, you can say, which are available to perform the electronic communication, okay. Then later on we will be seeing the receiver part, okay. So these things we have to understand in the case of communication, okay. So if you just look at the history of the communication, okay, you must have come across one of the example, okay, which is called as telegraph, okay. The telegraph was actually invented by Samuel Morse, okay. And that particular telegraph was able to send the text messages, okay, in the text messages in the form of dot and dashes, okay. It was coded in the form of dot and dashes, and he was able to send the text messages, okay. And later on, Alexander Graham Bell, he was also developed the telephone, okay, who was able to send the human voice through the wired channel, okay, wired channel through the electrical pulses, okay. So he was also able to send the human voice. Nowadays, we already see that a lot of progress has been taking place in the communication engineering. And nowadays we are having so many ways of transmitting or transferring the signal from one place to another place. Okay, so many ways. So just for the historical point of view, I was trying to say you these things. And one more point that you can remember, that in the earlier days, nowadays we are having like WhatsApp, we are having Facebook, so many things we are having by which we can send the like text messages, we can send the voice messages, we can send the video, we can also send the pictures, okay, and the documents can also be sent. So many type of messages signals that we can send by available electronic gadgets, and so many applications are available. But in earlier days, if you think of, like, we are having the post office system, in which if we want to send any letters, then we have to first write a letter on a plain paper, then we have to write the address and everything, then we have to post that letter to the post office or post boxes, and then that letter will be carried to one place to another place based on the address by using certain carriers, and that carriers are nothing but our either railroad, you can say, or we can also use any automobile facilities, okay. And that way the message was actually transmitting any letter things, if you have written anything, so that written messages was transferred that way. Okay, so that was taking too much time. But nowadays we are having so fast communication just due to this electronic processes. Okay, we are having electronic communication, and because of that, transfer of the messages are now so rapid. With a single click we can send so many information, okay, within a very short span of time, from one place to another place. So now you must be thinking that what kind of input messages or information sources that we have and that we need to send. So obviously, you already know these things, okay? But just for the sake of understanding, the massive signal that we are going to means going to study in the subject most of the time is these are the signals, okay? First of all, like we are having a voice signal, okay? First massive signal is our voice, okay? So massive signal, it is nothing but any information bearing signal, okay? That we want to transfer from one place to another place, okay? One point to another point, or one place to another place. So any information bearing signal, okay, that will be called as the massive signal. Okay, what is signal, that I will be talking later, okay? But first, I hope you must be able to understand what is massive signal. It should contain certain information, okay? And we are in this subject concerning about these four type of signals. Basically, we will be discussing mostly this three type, but just for completeness sake of completeness, I am telling you we are having this four type of signals, okay, massive signals. So first of all, the voice signal. So the voice signal is nothing but it is the range of frequency that a human can produce while speaking. Okay, so when I'm talking like it is human, then the human consists of, it is male speaker, it is also, it may be female speaker, it may be a child speaker, okay? Because we know that we will be able to like distinguish between the speakers, whether it is a male, female, or a child speaker, just by listening to their voices, okay? Even if you are not able to see the person, okay? Let's say if you are talking over a phone, and if somebody is out there in the other side of the phone, and if he is a male speaker, obviously you will be able to identify by their voice. Similarly, you can also identify the female speaker if anybody is a child. So why we are able to identify them? Because male speaker, female speaker, and child speakers are actually having a certain different voice quality, tonal quality. Okay, it's range of frequencies that they're able to generate. Okay, so that's why we are able to distinguish them, because the range of frequencies that their throat is able to generate. Okay, so basically when we speak, generally the voice signal will come out of our mouth due to the vocal cavity. Okay, so there is vocal cords we have, and due to the vibration of the vocal cords and our mouth, there will be a certain sounds will be generating. Okay, and all the sounds are actually having a different frequency component. Okay, different frequency component. So if you see the human voice, okay, we are able to produce a human voice that may be beyond like 5 kilohertz or 10 kilohertz, okay, like right from 300 hertz to, it may go beyond the 10 kilohertz, but still you remember that the most of the signal strength is actually concentrated between this range, okay, most of the strength. Okay, so most of the time you will find, if you see the spectrum or the frequency part of your voice signal, you will find that the human is generating a voice signal that will have this frequency range 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz. Okay, so up to this, within this band, within this range of frequency, most of the power of the voice signal will be concentrated. Okay, and the other higher component can be easily rejected. Okay, it can be easily rejected because it is not going to deteriorate the quality of the voice signal. Okay, so basically for electronic communication purpose, okay, the voice signal that we are taking is having its particular bandwidth. Okay, you try to understand that the frequency bandwidth that we are talking about. Okay, so as we know that every signals, okay, every signals which is the periodic in nature, okay, it is related with its frequency. As we know that if we are having a sinusoidal wave, okay, if we have any sinusoidal wave, okay, any sinusoidal wave, it's having its fundamental like its a period like t, capital T, then its frequency will be 1 upon t. Okay, 1 upon t. So similarly, each and every signals will have a certain fundamental frequency. Okay, a certain fundamental frequencies. Similarly, our voice signal is, because when I'm saying hello, then the hello definitely will have a certain range of frequency. Similarly, when I'm saying good morning, then obviously this good morning is also having a certain frequencies. Okay, so each and every speaker is having their own range of frequencies that he is able to generate. Okay, but if we all together, if we take all the human speakers, then 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz is the band in which we are generating the frequencies. Okay, and these frequencies are sufficient to send. If we want to send these frequencies, then if we are sending only this amount of frequencies, we will be able to regenerate the original voice signal at the receiver side. This is very important thing to understand. Okay, so if you see, this is our voice signal, one of the message signal. The another message signal that we have is audio signal, which is also called as music signal. Okay, so as we know that audio signal or music signals are basically the signals that a human ear can perceive. Okay, so we are having the audibility. So if it is audible to human ear, okay, then that the signal will be called as the audio signal. You please try to understand these two differences between the voice signal and the audio signal. Okay, so voice signal is the signal that humans are generating while speaking. Okay, but the audio signal is the signals that the human ear can sense it. Okay, our human ear can sense the frequency range right from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Okay, so we will be able to hear the maximum frequency equals to 20 kilohertz and the minimum frequency 20 hertz. Okay, so beyond that, the response of the human ear is very nil. Okay, so we will be not be able to respond for the higher frequencies. We cannot sense it. Okay, so this range of frequencies, okay, either it is called as the audio signal or it can also be called as the music signal. Okay, so like we are having these so many, like even we are having the music. Okay, in music we are having like musical instrument like guitar, we are having tabla, we are having so many piano, okay, Casios, so many things we are having. So it is having its own frequencies and these are generating very high frequency. Okay, and the same frequency human voice cannot generate. Okay, so whatever be these frequencies, right, so these frequencies we are able to sense through our ear. Okay, so that's why it's called as the audio signal or the music signal. So this is the approximate bandwidth, which is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Similarly, we are having certain picture signals or the video signals. Okay, so this picture or video signals is containing its bandwidth right from the zero, means 0 hertz means it is DC. Okay, so right from the 0 and up to 4.2 megahertz. This is the typical bandwidth that has been found practically, and it is occupying the bandwidth equals to 4.2 megahertz. Now we are having the different computer data. Okay, it will completely depending on the computer data, the bandwidth will be decided. What kind of computer data we are talking about, and then the bandwidth will be decided. So here in this lectures, I will be just we have to focus on to these three signals. Okay, and now I have told you this all frequencies, approximate bandwidth of the message signal that we want to send. Either it will be a voice signal, audio signal, or a video signal that we transmit from one place to another place. Okay. And it is having its typical bandwidth in this range, 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, 0 to 4.2 megahertz. A little bit deviations in the books or any other study material you may find, but please do not bother about it. Okay. Somewhere in the books you may find that this is not 4.2 megahertz, but it is either 4.5. Somewhere it is written 5 megahertz. Okay. So please do not bother about it. Again, you do not bother about it. This 3.1 kilohertz, somewhere it may be written as 5 kilohertz or 4 kilohertz. Okay. You have to concentrate upon the concepts. Okay. So what you are going to study. Okay. And how to use this information. Okay. Whether it is 5 kilohertz, 5 megahertz, doesn't matter. Okay. But this is the typical range. These are the typical range that you will find in many of the books. Okay. But if there is a discrepancy, don't bother about it. Now, here I have shown the frequency part of the message signals. Okay. I have shown that like we are having the voice signal. Okay. So if you taking the frequency spectrum of the voice signal. Okay. So because I said that it is containing 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz, then here you can see that within this range. Okay. So we are having onto this x-axis, we will be having the frequency axis, and here we have to take the Fourier transform of this particular signal, voice signal. We will be having a certain MT, and then from the MT we have to take the Fourier transform, and that Fourier transform we have plotted with respect to the variation in the frequency. Okay. So as I said, it is containing the frequency component right from 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz. So here you can see that we are going to get a certain non-zero frequency component in this range, 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz. Okay. One thing that I just wanted to tell you, that if you go through the Fourier transform, okay, you will find that in the Fourier transform, if we are having any real signals, okay, these are all the real signals. You try to understand that we are having the real signals. So whenever we calculate the Fourier transform of a real signal, then you will find that the Fourier transform will be a double-sided spectrum. Okay, it will be having a double-sided spectrum. So that's why I have shown here like 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz. Okay, one side, and another side again I have plotted the same mirror image. Okay, the same mirror image I have plotted from minus 300 hertz to minus 3.1 kilohertz, because all the real signals will have the double-sided spectrum. This is what you have to understand here. Okay. You must be thinking that why it is taken as the semicircle. Why it should not be some other signal. Okay. Why it should not be some other signal. This is what you have to understand. Okay. So here you can see this shape doesn't matter. Okay. You try to understand that this shapes doesn't matter. You could have taken anything, okay, but I have just taken for the simplicity like a semicircle, but it is not at all required that it should have the semicircle shape, okay. So it just try to reflect that this spectrum of the voice signal is having a non-zero frequency component, between 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz. This is what we have to get this information from this picture, from this frequency spectrum. Okay. And here we can calculate the bandwidth. Okay. So that bandwidth will be the maximum frequency minus minimum frequency. Okay. So it is 3.1 kilohertz or 300 hertz here. So if you subtract it, you will be getting 2.8 kilohertz. That will be the bandwidth of our message signal. Okay. Voice signal. Okay. Voice message signal. So try to understand that the shape doesn't matter. Okay, just to distinguish, here you can see that for the audio signal, okay, for the audio signal, I have just taken the triangle. Okay, I have taken just the triangle. And this triangle actually having its non-zero frequency component right from 20 hertz, and it is going up to 20 kilohertz. And again, it is a double-sided spectrum because it is a real signals. Okay, so please do not bother about the shape. Okay, I could have drawn here like a semicircle, and here I could have drawn like a triangle. Okay, and if you see the actual spectrum, it will be a very randomized thing. Okay, very much random zigzag type of picture you will see that. But here, just for the simplicity, we are just taking just to distinguish that. Okay, we are having this massive signal, and this massive signal is having non-zero component, okay, between 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. And out of that, you can see that there is no component of the frequencies, okay. So this is our massive signal. Similarly, I have drawn for the video signal, I have taken like this, okay. So again, you can see it is starting from the 0 hertz, okay, and then it is going up to 4.2 megahertz. Similarly, you can calculate the bandwidth, that will be equals to 4.2 megahertz. Similarly, the bandwidth in the case of audio signal will be approximately 20 kilohertz because the lower frequency component is 20 hertz, which is very small. Okay, so here you have to remember that the massive signal is nothing but your voice signal, audio signal, and the picture or the video signals. This is what we want to transfer or transmit from one place to another place. And this signal has to be received at the other side, and that has to be transmitted through a channel, okay, through a channel. So one thing that I would like to tell you that basically if you go through any communication book, okay, then you will be generally come across these two words. One is called as the baseband signal, and another one is the band pass signal. Okay, you generally come across these two words. Okay, you have to understand what is this baseband and what is this band pass signal. Okay, so as I have written here, okay, the baseband signal, it is the band of frequencies representing the original signal as delivered by a source of information. Okay, so what does it mean? A human voice, okay, a human can generate a signal that will have its frequency component will be like 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz. Okay, if he is able to generate 300 hertz to 3.1 kilohertz, then because the human is the source of information, okay, he is able to generate the massive signal, then I will be calling this frequency component as the baseband. Okay, it is the basic, this is the frequencies that you are, this is the band of frequencies that your source of information is generating, or human voice is able to generate. And that signal is called as the baseband signal. Okay, baseband signal. Okay, so it contains significant low frequency component in its spectrum. Okay, it contains significant low frequency component. Okay, this is one of the very important thing, that it will be containing significantly low frequency component. Okay, so here you can see 300 hertz, 500 hertz, 1000. Okay, these are all significantly low frequency component that will be available. Okay, and that's why we are saying it is a baseband signal. Similarly, if you think about the video signal, okay, the video signal, whatever be the source, okay, like we know that when we are shooting any if we want to capture any video, okay, there will be a camera. Okay, so the response of the camera is nothing but your source of information. Okay, the source of information, and the source of information itself generating the frequency component right from 0 to 4.2 megahertz. And because again it is containing the low frequency component, okay, I will be calling it as baseband signal. You try to understand here, the maximum frequency component is just 3.1 kilohertz, and here the maximum frequency component in the message itself is 4.2 megahertz. But both are called as the baseband signal. Why it is called as baseband signal? Because the band of frequencies is actually coming due to the original signal as delivered by the source of information. Okay, and it is also containing the low frequency component. Here you can see it is containing 0 hertz. Okay, here again it is containing 300 hertz. So because it is containing low frequency component, it is called as the baseband signal. Okay, so you remember that another name of any message signal, okay, any message signal, it is also called as baseband signals. Okay, in the communication context, it will be referred as the baseband signal. It is a baseband signal. Okay, so whenever it is a baseband signal, you try to understand it is the message signal. Okay, which is containing the low frequency components. Okay, which is having significant low frequency component. Now let's come to this band pass signal. What is this band pass signal? The band pass signal, it doesn't contain significant low frequency component in its spectrum. Okay, for example, let's say if I have any signal, any arbitrary signal, which is having this type of a spectrum. Now you can see in this spectrum, the lowest frequency is 10 megahertz. Here you can see it is 10 megahertz, 10 megahertz, and highest frequency is 20 megahertz. Okay, so here you can see that this lowest frequency component is not significantly low. Okay, 10 megahertz is a very high value. Okay, very high value, and therefore we have to call it as a band pass signal. Okay, so any signal which is not containing any significant low frequency component, okay, are called as the band pass signal. You have to remember this two terminology because it is very important while discussing the communication topics in further sections. Okay, because I will be talking about the modulation. There you will find that modulation is nothing but the conversion of the baseband signal into the band pass signal. Okay, so that you try to remember that the message signals are generally baseband in nature. Okay, these are called as the baseband signals. Okay, now after that we have to talk about the communication channel. Okay, so as I said that when we are talking about in classroom scenario, the channel between the speaker and the listener, the channel will be your ear. Okay, and through which the signal will be transmitted. And now when we talk about the electronic communication, okay, generally we are having two types of channel. The broader classification is the guided wired channel, okay, guided channel, which is also called as man-made media. The second one is called as the unguided or wireless channel. Okay, so this is very important to understand how our channel works. Okay, so basically you have to see that in the wired channel, okay, as it is called as guided media or wired channel or man-made media, okay, we are having three different channels that can be used, three different medias that can be used. For example, we are having the twisted pair cable. Okay, we are having the twisted pair cable. You can see the picture here. Okay, so we are having the twisted pair cable. We are having coaxial cable. Okay, this type of cables we have. Okay, and this is optical fiber cable. Okay, so these are the three different type of man-made media that we have or we are using for transmission of the electronic message signals. Okay, I have written the typical bandwidth offered by them. Okay, here you can see that the twisted pair cable is offering about 1 megahertz bandwidth and the coaxial cable is offering about 500 megahertz. Okay, these are the typical bandwidth. You will find that in the optical fiber is offering the highest bandwidth and its order will be of terahertz. Similarly, we are having the unguided or wireless channel. Okay, here you can see that when we are having the landline connections. So in the landline connection, the one person is sitting at one location. He must be dialing a number, okay, onto this particular telephone, and then it will get connected to the other side speakers. Okay, and this speakers, you can say it will be connected through a wired media. Okay, this is the wired media. We are having one channel. Okay, this is our wired channel. Okay, so that wired channel could be a twisted pair cable, a coaxial cable, or optical fiber cable. Similarly, we are having the unguided or wireless channel. Okay, so obviously in this we don't require any man-made media. Okay, we don't require any man-made media, but rather we have to use the Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so I will be discussing more about this unguided media or wireless channel in the next lecture. So I will be stopping today at this point. So if you have any query, okay, let me know by dropping your doubts in the message box. So thank you for watching. We will be discussing this unguided or wireless channel in the next lecture. Thank you.